Hi guys, Urban EDC here. As you might have noticed from my other videos, I will be doing gear reviews, and hopefully you guys will find this useful. I'm going to follow the same philosophy and try to look at gear that I think will be useful for you in your urban city life environments. And one of the coolest things that I found was the soft shell layer. And for those of you that don't know what the soft shell is, let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about the history of it, and maybe that will help you understand why it was developed. So first of all, I think maybe around 10 years ago, there were a lot of, the mountain climbers, mountain hikers, and snowboarders and skiers, and pretty much the outdoor enthusiasts who were stuck in snowy or rainy, cold, wet environments. And so, like all the activities that I mentioned, they're all very highly intensely aerobic. So you sweat a lot and need to move a lot. But when you're stuck in a colder climate, such as in Colorado, or maybe more up north in Northern California and stuff like that, when you're in a colder climate, you're pretty much stuck with wearing just the Gore-Tex layer. And as I mentioned before, the Gore-Tex layer is pretty heavy, and it doesn't breathe, and it's kind of restricting in your movements because it's so bulky. So what it ended up happening is they developed this soft shell layer. And the soft shell layer retains most of the benefits of the Gore-Tex, and it improves upon the design. So while it may not be as 100% waterproof as the Gore-Tex is, it's still pretty much 90-95% waterproof. It is windproof. It's very lightweight. It's insulated with a fleece layer, and it also allows the non-restriction of movement because it's very flexible, and it's also breathable. And those were the two main benefits that the Gore-Tex layer did not have, and the soft shell incorporates those two quite beautifully. So let's take a look at a review on this jacket that I found. And believe it or not, I found it at my local Costco. That's right, at Costco. So, as you know, Costco mainly sells bulk items, but for this one, I found it at a ridiculous price of $27. Can you believe that? $27. Yeah. And the reason why that's so astonishing is because if you're looking into getting a nice soft shell, you're going to be looking at brands like the North Face, arc-teryx, and maybe even TAD gear. And the prices on those, the arc-teryx and the North Face ones, those probably run around, I would say, 180 plus for a soft shell. If you really have the money to spend and you can get something really nice, I would definitely recommend the TAD gear soft shells. Those are like, $300. And the reason is because those are pretty much custom made. They only make like limited runs of those, and that's why it's so expensive. But those are really nice. But let's look at this Costco one, Black Diamond. It's not the same Black Diamond that makes other types of equipment. I think this is just like a no-name brand Black Diamond. But let's look at it. For $27, let's see what it has to offer. So, like I said before, the materials used on it, is 93% polyester and 8% spandex. And what that allows for is a very non-restrictive, very flexible material. Okay, it's also coated in a DWR, a water repellent layer, and that allows it to shed water very easily. Looking at the jacket itself and the features that it has, the features are mainly, I believe, what sets it apart from the more expensive soft shells. Because the materials used, like in the North Face ones, is very similar to this. It's still, the 92% polyester and the 8% spandex blend. So it's pretty similar. But there might be some features that are lacking on this jacket that the North Face does have and the other brands might have, but let's look at those. So as you can see, it does have the nice two pockets down here. In each of these pockets, they're just your standard, hand warmer pockets, nothing too special. Take a look on the inside. On the inside, the jacket is lined with like a fleece material. And this fleece material is made out of that nicely woven polyester. Notice here that there's also two very large pockets, one on each side. And these pockets are large enough to hold water bottles in them, and other really large gear that you might have. And what that allows for is a very sleek design, because on the outside it's not going to look like you're carrying a lot of gear. So for you EDC hardcore people, that's a nice feature to have. Also, you'll notice here is the chest pocket, and this chest pocket is very cool because what it allows for is the use of a headset or headphones. So any of you guys who have iPods, cell phones that require headsets, this is really cool, and let me show you why. Right here, you open up the chest pocket, and it's a pretty tiny pocket, but it'll fit your cell phone in, and your iPod's fine. And what you do is you stick your iPod in there, and when you flip it around, you see it's kind of like a mesh pocket, okay? And there's a little hole that's cut into the mesh, and what that allows for is your headphones are going to be strung through that hole, and it's going to hook on into your iPod, right? And then as it comes out, there's a tiny loop, a very tiny loop. You might not be able to see that, but there's a very tiny elastic loop, okay? And what you can do is you can string your headphones through that loop. So what happens is when you're wearing this and you're not using your headphones, they'll just rest in that loop, and it'll be hidden by your collar. So when you're wearing it, people aren't going to notice that you have, the headphones dangling out. So it makes for a very clean, sleek appearance. And when you do need it, you don't need to go fumbling through your iPod or whatever. You can just pull these out, and then you can just listen to them. And I think that's a pretty cool design. They have this feature in other jackets too, but they also have it on this Black Diamond one from Costco, and I thought that was pretty neat. Additional features that this one has is it does have these waist closure straps, which allows you to tighten around the waist, and that's pretty nice because it will allow you to retain most of your heat if you need to. If you think heat's going to be leaking out from your waist, you can tighten up. There's one on each side, so that's definitely a nice feature. And that's pretty much it for all the features on this Black Diamond soft shell. And what sets it apart from the North Face ones and the other designs is, I think, other closure straps. For example, here on the wrist, okay, there's no closure straps. On some of the other jackets, you can actually, cinch up and tighten the cuff around your wrist. So, if it's snowing and you're like skiing and stuff, snow's not gonna, keep going into your jacket and getting you all wet. So that's a feature that this one does not have. It also does not have thumb loops, okay? And thumb loops are for also for retention around your wrist, so that as you're doing all this activity, the sleeve is not going to keep on sliding up your arm, okay? Because of that thumb loop, it's going to hold the sleeve down. So that's two features that this jacket does not have. It also doesn't have the same closure features around the neck collar area. And some of the other jackets have that, where you can also cinch up around your neck, make sure it's, completely tight so that, snow and rain and whatever, those elements aren't going to be getting inside of your jacket and making you cold. But, for the price point, $27, this is a pretty awesome soft shell, I think, in my opinion, because it's so cheap. You can take a look at the back. The color designs on this are pretty nice. Costco offers them in this green and black version. There's also a blue and gray, or blue-black mix, and there's also a completely black. They also make these for women. However, the women jackets vary a little bit differently. Some of them don't have those nice waist fasteners, and they also don't have those large inner pockets for the women. And I think maybe it's because it's just like a smaller jacket, and so they don't have all that much room. But it's still pretty much the same jacket. So if you guys are interested in looking at buying a soft shell, I would definitely recommend this one from Costco, since it's only $27. For the urban environment, for my purposes, I think this is a fantastic outer layer. Reasons are because it's lightweight, very easy for me to carry. If it gets hot and I need to take it off, it's really lightweight, and it's not as heavy as like that Gore-Tex jacket. Also, it's not overkill because it's not heavily insulated like that Gore-Tex jacket, and it's pretty much, it's going to be offering me benefits that the fleece layer doesn't have, because it is waterproof and it is breathable, and the fleece is not waterproof. So those are some of the benefits that I find in the urban environment. And also because of all the cell phone and iPod technologies that we're using today, that nice headphone elastic cord right there that holds your headphones right there next to your collar, that's pretty nice too. So if you're looking into getting into soft shells, I recommend this one, because if you're going to be spending like the $100, $200 on those really expensive soft shells, you might want to try this one out first. Look at the material, see how it fits, just play around with it, wear it for a couple of weeks, see if you really do like the soft shell material. It might not be for everyone, but in the case that you do, definitely check this one out. Talk to you guys later.